Okay, so let me go to my repository. So I just started the recording. Okay, and okay, so a bunch of people actually they actually added pull request actually. So thank you very much. I think maybe I'm missing one or two people, right? Because I cannot add all of them. I mean, I'm not getting the time to add all of you guys, but you understand that point, okay? So the thing is, the way that the GitHub procedure works, that when you start working, when you clone a branch, you will open a master or you'll open a branch, a name of that test case, and you'll write that test case. After writing the test case, you'll push in that branch and make a pull request. So for example, this person made a pull request for you know and for example, a team member or a QA lead or whoever's in charge of merging the code, he or she can just go in and can review his code. Okay, so for example, and then can give a reply as well, like for example, I wrote, yeah, very good, you did a good job. And if he likes the code, he will just click here, merge pull request, and it will be immediately merged. Okay, and then when the code is merged, you will from your end, you'll switch to master branch and you'll pull. Okay, you will switch the branch to master branch from your side, and if you pull, you can see everyone's changes. Okay, so let me write the process. Okay, so what is the, so it's already written in session 6. So if you go to session 6, it's already written there. So I'm just want to go over a few things actually. Okay. Okay, so what is the actually process, GitHub processes in workplace. Okay, so first you will clone the branch. You clone you'll clone the repository. Okay, so when you clone the repository, automatically you'll find the master branch. Okay. Okay. So when you see the master branch and you're deciding that you'll write a test case or you'll do some kind of changes, you'll immediately create a new branch based on the test case you will make. Okay. Um, in some companies, they require you to give your initials as well. So, for example, if my name is Mohammed Ali, I'll write MA and then I'll give the test case name. So, in that way, you know that who's actually coming from. But it's not necessary because when you do pull request, the name is right there. Okay. So, you'll immediately create a new branch based on the test case you will create. Okay. After you are done writing the test case, you will push it in your newly created branch. Okay, when you're done, you'll push it in your newly created branch and we'll make a pull request to merge it in master. Okay, so for example, this person, Mr. Sack, made a pull request, right? So he made a pull request and I'm actually reviewing his code here. So I'll go to commit and I will review his code, right? So this is the thing that he wrote. This is the test case that he have added. Okay, so I'll go over this test case, make sure he's doing the right thing.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Enrico.
Yes, can you hear me? Hello? Can you just hear me?
Yes, Enrico, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. All right. So and after that you will make a pull request. Okay. So the thing is you're looking at after making a pull request, for example, Mr. Sack made a pull request, right? So so it is a job of a team member to review a test case that will be merged to the master branch. Okay, so if he sees that okay everything looks good, I also wrote a comment, very good, blah blah, everything works well. He will actually in my workplace, if anyone makes a pull request, they will actually attach a passing result of test ng, or show some kind of proof that it has passed, so you are more reliable that no, this code will definitely work out. Okay. If you don't like something, you can definitely you can comment here saying that no, it is not good, or you're not following our standards. Okay, so in that way you can, based on every code, you can also add a comment as well. All right. Okay, so after you see, okay, it looks good, everything is fine, you can go ahead and you can merge this code. Okay, so if you go back, if you go to commits again, mm, okay, so there is an option called merge pull request. As soon as I hit merge pull request, his code will be immediately added to the master branch. Okay, right. Okay, and make a, okay, after the pull request was made, team members will cross verify your work and will provide feedback. Okay, so for example, a feedback was provided. Okay, so based on the feedback, you'll again do some changes or do some modification. If everything is good to go, the team member or whoever's assigned or whoever's so you're the author of the pull request, right? You cannot merge your own code. Someone other than you has to merge your pull request. Okay. By the way, Texas class, can you guys hear me? Are you guys in class? Mhm.
I can hear you.
Okay,
Yes, we can hear you from Dallas campus.
Yeah, we can hear you.
okay, so you guys are in the campus, right? Some of you guys are in the campus. You guys can see or hear everything, right?
Yes, we can hear you from the campus.
Okay, very good. Just checking. All right. So this is the process of how you work in the workplace. Okay, so why do we do all this drama? Why do we have to create a new branch? Why we cannot directly pass it to the master? Because the thing is, master is the main copy. If you directly work, if everyone directly works into the master, there will be lots of chaos. Chaos means if anyone pushes a wrong or error code, then the framework or the test case would not work. If there's an error in your project, it wouldn't run. Okay, and that's a problem. Okay, so that's why, and plus they don't want people randomly pushing things to master. Okay, so the team do not want randomly pushed changes to master. In that way, there's no track of who's pushing what. So that's why they want to track who's pushing what, and they want to verify the work. So that is why we're going through this process. Okay, does anyone have any question about this?
Enrico, this is Nirad. I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So, if someone commented on my code that I need to change something,
Hmm.
so how do I change it, and how do I replace the, revised,
Yeah.
revised?
Yes. So you will go to your branch. So you will be in your same branch. Okay. And for example, where you wanted that. Okay. So what did I make the comment on? So if I go up and I can see files changed. Okay, so I said that you are not following our standard. So for example, maybe the way you wrote the WebDriver, it should be inside the function, something like that. So you're seeing that, I mean, it depends on the line. So the person who's making a comment, he will be making a comment on top of that line. Okay, all right. So based on that comment, which line that he actually commented on, you'll go back to your Eclipse and you will actually, do the work there and you'll push your code again. Very good point. Okay, let me write this.
So when you push the revised code, is it gonna replace the the one that I already have it on GitHub, or
Yes,
is it automatically
yeah. If you push,
replace it?
if you push it, whatever it was pushed before, it will replace it. Okay.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay. If you have to do modification, very good question. If you want to, if you want to do modification based on the comment, then go back to your branch, make change, and push again. Okay. So if you push again, it will be replaced immediately. Okay. But it will happen only during the time you're in pull request. If you merge it and then do it, it won't going to work. Okay. So you have to be in the pull request mode. That time you'll see it. Okay. And after the changes was made, the code reviewer will again see again, and then it will approve. Okay. So that's how we actually we do the work. So everyone in Texas campus and everyone online, you guys understood, right? What will be the process of working with GitHub? Do you guys have any question, concern, comments? The thing is, guys, I'm not in site. I'm not in a Texas campus. So I'm not able to hear and see what you feel. I'm not a mind reader. So you have to tell me, you have to give me feedback of what you're understanding and what you're not understanding. So I can help you out. If you're not telling me or if you're not expressing your feelings, I'm not be able to, I won't be able to help you out. Okay. So you guys know after the class also give time and do other activities as well. So you have to tell me, right, that hey, I'm not understanding this. Or you can also personally you can message me later after the class, or you can personally message me on GroupMe and say that hey, I'm having problem with this, can you go over that? So yeah, so it's a hands-off thing. So you guys also have to inform me. Okay. That's a big disadvantage that I'm not in the campus, but if you guys are staying in the campus and totally focusing on my lecture, you guys shouldn't have a problem. But if you guys have any technical issue later, if you guys don't say anything, just mention me and group me. Okay, so I'm definitely willing to give you time, but you have to mention it, or you have to give time, or you have to give me feedback that hey, I'm not understanding this, go over that. So in that way I can. Okay, so that is a little bit disadvantage of the live class. Okay, all right. So you guys understood this, right? GitHub process is very important. That's, I mean, in the interview, they actually, if you tell them, they actually will judge your understanding based on this process. Okay. Right. So let's talk about March conflicts. Okay. So let's talk about March conflict. What is a March conflict here? So March conflict happens when same person actually pushing in the same class or the same file. Okay. So when two authors pushing changes in the same class. Okay. So for example, both of the authors made changes into the same page, or both of the authors made changes into the same test case or something like that. Immediately the GitHub will give you an alert. It's called March conflict. Okay. So how do you resolve March conflict? How do you resolve merge conflict? Okay, GitHub will tell you, will ask whose changes to keep. Okay, you will decide which changes to keep and push again. Well, hopefully I can, I mean, I wish I can show it to you, but I don't have, at this moment, I don't have time. But definitely, maybe in the evening time, or maybe if I have to make that environment actually, okay, so that I can show you. So okay, so just know it for now. Okay, when two authors pushing change in the same class, GitHub will give a merge conflict notification. So that time GitHub will throw a merge conflict notification. Okay. So when you get that notification, what you will do? Okay, when you get that notification, um, GitHub will actually ask you whose changes you will take. Okay, then you go back to your branch and you see that okay, you also made a change and someone else also made a change, and you'll decide. You will actually communicate with the author, the other author that made the changes. You'll come to a decision, and then you'll keep your change and delete his change, keep your change or delete his change, or delete your change, keep his change, and then push it to your branch, and that merge conflict will go away. Okay, all right. Yeah, so if you guys maybe later, if you guys want any if you're maybe probably later, if you guys have any question, make sure you ask me in group me or in the group or message me. Okay, right. So do we have any question on the merge conflicts or the GitHub process? So right now at this moment, um, if you go to session 6, so last time you guys were having problem understanding uh, what was written here and all that. Okay, so at this moment, I think you guys can, if you guys can read it, if you guys read it now, it will make a lot of sense. Okay,
I have a question.
yes, please.
How does GitHub know if it's asking two different users which change that it wants to keep? How does it know what change to actually keep if it's getting two different answers from the users?
Yeah, very good question. As I mentioned before, it will GitHub doesn't decide, you decide.
But
So
so would we have to communicate with each other first before that actually is resolved?
yes.
Because we're not going to be able to know, like, whose is doing the actual, who's to keep.
Yeah, I mean
I don't know how that would work out.
yeah, so the GitHub will tell you like, okay, these two branches are having conflict with the same class. So as a branch author, you already know who's that branch, or you'll definitely ask, whose branch is this? Okay, and I mean you'll know definitely. I mean, when the merge conflict happens, both of the person will know immediately. Okay, that okay, there is a conflict going on. So GitHub will just give you an alert. Okay, and then you two will come to an agreement which changes to keep. It happens, for example, these are very minor changes. Sometimes, like, it could be major change too. Um, so you have to decide. You two have to decide which change to keep, and then that, for example, okay, you keep your change, then you keep your change, and the other author change you'll delete, and then you'll push it again, and then the merge conflict will go away. Hopefully, I answer your question.
I have a question too.
Yeah, please.
Kingsley, just to follow up on what the other person asked, like if the merge conflict is thrown, should we stop there and then contact the other person before maybe deciding on whether to keep it or to keep the change?
Can you repeat your last part? You said that. Can you say that again?
I mean, when the merge conflict error is thrown, right? Should we stop at that point and then contact maybe the other person who was doing the same thing from the other author?
Yes, that's the plan. That's the goal.
Okay.
So that's why
So
the conflict notification happens. It says, hey, there is someone doing the same thing. So you don't want to duplicate the effort, or you don't want to damage someone else's work. So that is the notification. That is why the merge conflict notification shows actually.
okay.
Yeah. Right. So we're good in this, right? We're good in GitHub. There's no scary moments in GitHub. So many people are asking which way should we follow? Should we follow the Git bash way, or should we follow the Eclipse way? It's totally up to you. Because many of the people who actually started coding from long time, they are very used with the Git bash interface, Git bash command interface, and the IDE, the Eclipse IDE, Visual Studio IDE, these notepad, they understood that people are working in GitHub, so they by themselves they actually integrated the GitHub interface in this Eclipse IDE. So that's why you can easily pull and push from here too. So they're both doing the same thing, but if you're doing an Eclipse, you know what you're pulling and what you're pushing. Okay. But some people are comfortable in Git bash, some people are comfortable in over here in Eclipse interface, graphical interface. In the interview, you'll ask to both. In the interview, they will want to know more about the Git bash, how do you pull and push. They will want to know the command actually. Okay, but everyone in my workplace, me myself, I use this Eclipse interface. Some people uses Git bash, some people. So it's totally up to you which one you want to use. There's nothing right or wrong. So you can use either one. Okay. All right then. So again, if you understood, so you guys should understood the process of GitHub and pull request and pull and push. If you guys understood, then I'll go to our page object topic. Okay. Okay. So let's talk with page object. So today will be session 7. So if you guys, I mentioned before that if you guys understood today's class, you guys will be automation engineer. Okay. Why did I say that? What is the purpose of saying that? Okay. The purpose of saying that the making a page object model actually integrates all your knowledge of using Java OOPS concept, all your knowledge in Selenium. Okay, it integrates all your knowledge. So to make you guys understand page object model, that's why we went through Java, we went through OOPS concept. That's the reason we went through Java and everything to make sure that you understand what is a page object model. Okay? So why this is very important? Because in workplace, this is the model that we follow. Okay, this is the model that we follow. Okay, so let's take a look into this simple test case here. Okay, so what is this test case doing? It's going to a browser, and it's actually it's going to Chrome driver, it's going to a website, it's giving username and password, and it's signing in, right? So that's what we are doing here. Okay, but the thing is, what will happen if you have thousands of test cases, or what will happen if you have hundreds of test cases? Okay.
This one it didn't sign in yet. Just need the username of what.
Okay, no problem. Okay. So for example, so this is a simple test case that it does that. For example, but you have 100 and 200 of test cases. Okay, so in that test case, for example, your username changed, for example, and the credential changes all the time. Okay, for example, your username or password change for your application. So in that moment, you have to change username and password for all 100 and 200 test cases, right? Is that possible? It is not possible. For example, for some reason, your your element change, one of the element change. For example, the login element change, or maybe some other test case in some other different element changed. At that moment, you have to change the element of all the test cases. Okay, so so these, it becomes really hard to maintain. All right, so that's why we're switching to page object model. So what will be the page object model? All of these will be saved in different methods and different classes. So you can call them. If a change is needed, you can change them as well. Okay. So that is what is the definition of page object model. So let me actually make a diagram. Okay, so understand the diagram first. Okay, so make sure. Okay, so I want everyone's to pay attention here. So you see this piece of code, right? We'll convert it to a page object model framework. Okay, we'll convert it to a page object model framework. So all of these will be in different parts. Okay, so what are the parts that we will have? Okay, so let's start with. Okay, so we will have a second. So we will have a util folder, and I'm telling you what will go where and why we need all those folder. We need a driver folder, and guys, feel free to, if you think that my videos are a little bit complicated to watch or you don't have time, feel free to watch any other YouTube videos, or previous batch video. Feel free. So we'll have a driver folder. We'll have a page folder. So it should be pages. Okay, okay, page folder, no problem. And we will have test case folder. Okay. All right. So this is the folder. So this is the basic format at this moment. Okay. So anywhere, any company that you go, every company is using some kind of page object model, and everyone is using this structure. If you can understand this structure, so it's gonna be my personal goal today. Today's goal will be to understand, make sure that you guys understand this structure completely. And if you guys can stay in the class, and if you guys can do today's structure, you guys got it. Okay, there's no issue. All right. So what is this? What this util folder will be? Okay. So let's go back to this format that I have. So this is the very basic login. Okay, but I'm not. Someone's saying I'm not clicking the submit button here. So driver dot find element by dot id. I think it's submit, right? Okay. All right. So let's understand this simple test case, and then we will do more complicated or other test cases. So this is a login test case. Okay, how can I make it more reusable? How I can make the code reusable again and again. All right. So let's look into our first line. Okay, so our first line is line number 26. okay, line number 26 and line number 27, right? So line number, okay, for example, line number 26 to 29, okay, line number 26 to 29, I'll actually put it in a separate folder so I can able to reuse it again and again, okay, line number 26 to line number 29. So opening, so dealing with driver, opening the browser and which website to go, okay, so this could be in one folder. So if I open my paint system, so guys, please make sure you guys pay the full attention here, okay. So in the what will go into the util folder, okay. So in the util folder we'll have opening the browser, going to a web page, okay. So this util folder will have a class, okay. This util folder will have a class that will help us to go to uh, it will help us to pinpoint the driver, and it will help us to go to the specific browser and going and opening that web page, okay, right. So what will happen on the driver folder, okay. So we have okay, in this we have a driver folder, right? I think it's already done here, I think already. So we already have a Chrome driver here, right? We already have a Chrome. Where is my Chrome driver? Did I forget to add a Chrome driver? Oh, I forgot to add a Chrome driver in this class, in this project. So sorry about that. So yeah, so it should be here. It should have been added before. Okay, so what happens in the driver folder? Once I was copying the driver. So the thing is, you guys can see the driver here already, and you guys have a Chrome driver. Okay, so before that, actually, this is a page object concept that we started doing from the beginning. But before, we used to have a driver. Remember when we did Selenium, we used to have driver in a different part of your computer, and then we used to give the direction of that folder or location. Okay, but now we have it in this folder. Okay, so in the driver folder, we'll keep all our necessary drivers. For example, Chrome driver or IE or any kind of driver, we'll put there. Okay, right. So for example, yeah, so these are the drivers that we'll put. Okay, so by the way, when this util folder run, this util folder have to run with the help of the driver folder. Okay, the util folder has to mention where the driver is located. So remember, I was telling you that we'll be replacing line number, we'll be putting line number from line number 26 to line number 29. Okay, so in that moment, we also have to give a driver location as well. Okay, we already have a driver there. So these two util folder are kind of interconnected. Okay, so what will go, so let me take a snippet, right? Let me take a, but you guys understood, right? Do I have to put the whole code there, or you guys understood, right? On the util folder, it will be responsible for opening the browser and going to the web page and stuff like that. Okay. Okay, let me put example just to be in the safe side. So we'll have driver.get Chrome driver, new Chrome driver. So this is just an example that I'm giving. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's go into the page folder. Okay. So what will be in this page folder? So if we go to our TechFiles website, uh, trying to get to TechFiles website. Just give me a moment. Okay, so when we go to TechFiles website, right? So make sure we actually paying attention here. This is very important as well. So this is a page here. Okay, so this is a login page. Okay, in the basic basis of the page object, every page has to have its own class. Okay, every page needs to have its own class. Okay, so I'll be telling you why is that. Okay, so this is a login page. So some website might not have a login page in the beginning. Some website will, you'll when you go in, for example chase.com or any kind of banking website, you go to a landing page, right? And then you go to a login page. Okay, so in that time you have to readjust. But over here, as soon as you start with a login page. Okay, right? So on the login page, we have, email address and password and sign in. Okay. So these are the things we do. So right now we are actually doing line number 29 to line number 32. Okay. So we will be replacing the whole thing. Okay. So how would we do that? Okay. So on the page folder, we will have the login page, login page class. Okay. Okay, and what will go in that login page class? Okay, in the login page class, we will store all our elements. So it will be user, password, and submit button, right? Just give me 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So in the login page class, we'll store our elements. So we have our elements for username, password, and the button, right? So we have email address. Sorry, it should be email address instead of username, password, and the sign in button. So we'll store the elements in the page folder in the login page class. Okay, it should be email. Okay, and after we store the element, we will be creating function with those elements. Okay, we will be creating function with those elements. Elements for inputting username, for inputting email address, for email, password, and clicking sign in. Okay, so what will happen in the login page class? In the login page class, we will store our element for email, password, and submit button, and we will be creating function with these elements for inputting email, password, and the clicking sign in button. Okay, so that is what we'll be doing in the login page class. Okay, all right. After we're done, we're gonna make. We will go to a. We'll write the test case. Okay, so we'll have a test case called login test. So in that login test class, what is happening? Okay, in the login test class, we will simply call every function. That's all. So we will call function from the util class. Okay. So for example, we have a function in the util class, right, for opening the browser and the web page. For opening browser and going to URL. Okay, and then we will call function from the login page folder for signing in. Okay, so that's what the whole structure is right now. So for example, if you want to if you want to change your username or password, right, for example, you can just change it in the login page class. Okay, and it won't be, and it will be affected through 100 of 200 of test cases. That's fine. If your email or password or submit button element change, you can just change the element in the login page class, and it will be affected through 100 of 200 of test cases. So the thing is, with minimal effort, you can have changes for 100 of 200 of test cases, or how many test cases you have. So if you want, and all your test cases, all your calling the function, everything will be intact. Okay, so if you want to make changes, you can make changes in the login page, or you can make change in the class folder, and it will be fine. Or if you want to change a driver, you can just change the driver. If you want to change the location, you can change the location here. If you want to change the URL, you can change the URL here. So this is why you can reuse it again and again, and you can simply change it. It's easy to maintain. Okay. Okay. So do we? So this is just, so we'll be recreating this, and in the class, everyone should be recreating this. And if you guys understand this concept, actually, you'll be fine. Okay. So whatever driver was created in the util folder, the same driver needs to be passed on through page folder, through test class login test folder, and everything. Okay. So that is the challenge. We have to do some programming around the web driver. So make sure that all of this, make sure that the page class and the login test, I have to make sure that all of these two folder are referred to the web driver that's in the util folder. So that will be a little bit challenging to do, but it's possible to do. Okay. So we're gonna go on for a break. Let's cool our mind. I said lots of rocket science stuff. So do you, before we go on a break, so just look into it, meditate on it. But do you guys have any question? Is this very gibberish or is it very hard to understand? You guys can feel free to give comments.
No, it seems it seems logical. I mean, and as I imagine, companies will if you go into it, they already have the same structure, right?
All of them have the same structure.
As long as you understand it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So every companies that our students are working, they have some kind of page object structure. If you understand this structure, you're good to go. You will understand any. So every company write test case differently. They integrate with third-party tools. There's like this is the age of free age. Everything is for free. Selenium is for free. Okay. So whatever money saving opportunity they'll get, they'll switch to that tool. The company will switch to that tool. Okay? It doesn't care. They don't care about the performance. The every aim of every business is to save money. Okay. So for saving money, they will use anything. So the thing is, it doesn't matter. The point of saying all this is, doesn't matter what they use, they will have to use this page object structure. So if you understand this page object structure, you can navigate and go through and understand every framework in this world. Okay, you just have to understand this structure. Okay, okay. So let's pinpoint some people. Okay, we have 49 people joining today. Thank you. Okay, okay. How about Som, Sumitra, Shopna, Said, Tahmina, everyone? You guys understanding? Saira, Sakiba, Rustam, Rokon,
Yeah.
Oliver,
Yes.
Aga, Mohammed, Moon, Rashid, Maxim, you understand? I know. Kaushik, Kamal, Junu,
Yep.
Iqbal, Durga,
Yep.
Richard,
Got it.
David, Blake, Anwar, Abu Siddiq. Okay, so you guys, okay, so make sure if you guys don't understand, make sure you guys let me know, okay, because this is very important. If you as I said before, if you understand today's class, you are all, and you can do it. You can then you're already an automation engineer. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna create this login structure. So let's go on for break for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do our structure. Okay.
Enrico, I have a quick question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Uh,
What's your name?
maybe I was in the I was using the bathroom and I came late and then
Oh man.
what is the purpose of using two folders, util folder and the driver folder? Since you are putting the driver kind of things in the util folder, right? You already have that.
I'm putting the
Why using
driver
another
folder. I'm putting the drivers. I'm putting, for example, Chrome driver, iDriver, whatever driver you need. I'm putting this in the driver folder. Okay, and the util folder, because everything is separate here. The util folder just will write the code for it's just gonna write driver.get Chrome driver.new Chrome driver, and it will give the util folder will give the location of the driver folder. Okay, so
Okay.
the driver folder,
Oh, okay.
this is what the driver folder looks like. This is it. You can see, right? Driver Chrome driver exe. That's all.
Okay.
That's what the driver folder is doing. Okay, and
I got it.
you understood the concept of page folder and test case folder, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the test case folder. Okay. So what is the summary? So the test case folders will. Okay. I'm actually skipped one part. Okay. What is the purpose of the login page class, or what is the purpose of the page folder? The purpose of the page folder is just to store element and just to make function with those store elements. Okay. All the store element, all the actually the page elements, whatever whatever elements you're interacting with, all the elements will be stored in the page folder. All the elements, all the function and everything. And what will be the test case folder will be doing? The test case folder will be just calling those functions. That is all. That's what the test case folder does. Every class, it will call those functions that was made on the util and the page folder. That's all. That's all it's doing. Test case folder it's just calling the function, and the page folder is storing all the elements, and you're using the function to make the elements. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go on a break for how long? 10 minutes. So right now is 12 on. What time is it in Texas now? 10:09. 10:09. Okay. So we'll be back in 10:10. Oh, 10 to sorry 10. 10:20. Okay, 10:20. CST and EST will be back on 11:20. Yes. All right. Have fun. Okay, everyone is back, right? I gave you guys 3 minutes extra.
Yes, we're back.
Okay, Texas class, everyone is back? Is everyone back?
Yes, Anika.
Okay. How many people are in the campus right now? We one or two? Okay. All right. So let's start right now. I want so make sure everyone is in the class right now because everyone has to look into this. Okay. Everyone has to know what is going on. Okay. I can start now. Okay. So let's open the Eclipse. So we will create a Maven project right now. And by the way, the everything is actually in. If you go to session 7 today, if you go to session 7 in the Auto TechNotes Weebly, you can it tells you actually what to do. And by the way, you can do it with Git, you can do it with JUnit or TestNGit. It doesn't matter. But right now, I just want to get it running. Okay, you can do it either you can do it either from JUnit or from with TestNG. So it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is whatever I just mentioned. Everything is here. Okay, so if you guys look into this right now, it will make lots of sense. I'll integrate base page and all that, okay? But at least understand the basic structure first, okay? So this is the step that give you this is the prerequisite. You guys should have the prerequisite. And so this is the step of creating a page object structure, okay? So create a Maven project with group ID and all that, so we will be following that, okay? And everything is here, all the step by step, all the directions are here, how to create a page object model, okay? And by the way, is if everyone is here, if you go to GitHub, if you clone this URL, if you clone this GitHub URL, you'll see the whole project, okay? You guys can see the whole project. So everything is done for you, all right? And the code is right there too, all right? So he added few more test cases. I'm just trying to do the login page and the login test. That's all. Okay, so let's start without hesitation. Okay, so let's create. Let's pause this out. Okay, we can have. Okay, let's look at the direction of what it says here. Let's look at the direction. Okay, one by one, we can go ahead. So create a Maven project with group ID and artifact ID. Okay, so let's go ahead. So let's create a project. So everyone pay attention here. Let's create a project. So right click, we'll go to new and we'll go to project. Okay. So my Eclipse is a little bit old actually. So you guys, the interface might differ a little bit, but if you guys see any difference, let me know. I'll help you out. Okay. So we'll follow the same process of creating a Maven project. So click next. Okay, so we will be naming this page object. Artifact ID could be Selenium page object. Okay, so we click on finish. Okay, so as you can see over here, we already created a Selenium page object for a project here. We will on the left hand side there is a small arrow. We will click on that arrow, and there will be a POM XML folder, right? So as you can see, let me tell you something. So the Maven project already made based on a Maven project is already made basis on the page object model. So Maven people who created Maven, they know that Selenium, the way Selenium is done nowadays is by page object model. Okay, so they already know it. So they already created the structure for you here, main, test, and everything. Okay, so let's go to the POM XML. Okay, so we have to on the POM XML, we have to give the proper things to build, right? Yeah. Okay. So I have saved it over here. So again, I'll just take it. And I'll replace it.
Enrico, where did you get those dependencies?
So these are the ones that we've been using for example, these are the Selenium Java and the TestNG dependency that we used before, right? If you created a Selenium, um, if you created a Selenium project, we use this dependency, the same dependency, by the way. It's the same thing. There's nothing changed. Okay. So David, you created a Selenium project before, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So
But
those are
I see you replaced some of them.
no.
So I was
I just because I'm using TestNG. I just that's why I took out JUnit and replaced with Test.
oh, okay.
But you
Okay.
can use
Okay.
it JUnit too. Doesn't matter. Either one is fine at this moment. Okay. So we have it. We will right now we will right click it. Right click our project. So make sure you don't right click the folder. You right click on the project. Over here, the project name is Selenium page object. Okay. Make sure you right click on the project. Okay. And you go to Maven. Okay, sorry. You go to run as Maven build, the first one. Okay. You write clean install and you click run. So it's just telling that should you save your changes, you'll say yes. Okay, so as in the bottom, you can say that it's the workspace building and it is compiling and it is downloading all the proper files and the folders and everything. Okay. For some reason, I get an error. I think you shouldn't get an error, but it does not matter. Okay, over here. So let's see. So you should have a Maven dependency folder right here on your left hand side. When you run as Maven build, you should see that this Maven dependency folder coming up. If you expand it, you can see all the necessary jar files here. Okay. Because we can just delete this because I'm not using J. I'm using TestNG, and it was created with J. By default, it was created with JUnit. That's why it's giving you an error. So you can just take it. You can just delete it. Okay. So you can name this and you can rename it as pages. So right click on the package and you are renaming it as
Refractor. Yeah.
1 second. Yeah, I'm looking for the refactor. Yeah, refactor rename. So you're gonna give the name as pages. Okay, so this could be folder too, but you can use package also. So it's fine. Okay, but package you just starts with lowercase, so make sure you guys put it in lowercase. So it's okay. Then this package you'll name as test. So tests. You can delete this one. You don't need it.
Isn't package name supposed to be in lowercase? Supposed to start with lowercase?
Yeah, sure. You can give it lowercase. Just give it lowercase. Okay. So we also need the driver. So right here, let's look into our chart. So we need a util folder, we need a util folder, and we need a driver folder, right? So we'll get the util folder. So let's get the driver folder first, okay? So you guys should have a driver folder from uh, different project or anything like that. So you can just copy that. You can just copy, and you can just paste it in the project. So right click on the project and you can just paste. All right. So if you also make sure that in your driver folder you have a Chrome driver exe. Okay. So let's make the util folder right now. Okay. So let's look back to our direction, what he's doing. So let me see if we are doing the right thing here. We import the dependencies in the POM file. We ran it as Maven build. We created two package. Okay, so create two package page and util page inside the main folder. Okay, so we have to create a util package as well. So let's create a util package.
Hi, Enrico.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but what is the main folder? I mean, main folder.
Here, this is the main folder.
All right, I got it.
This is the main folder, and this is the test folder. So in the main folder, we'll have the pages package, and we'll have the util package. And
Yeah, I'm good now.
on the test folder, we'll have the test package. Okay. Right. So let's look back to our directions here. So after we create two packages called page and util inside the main folder, create a package called test inside the test folder. We already did that. Number 6 will be create browser factory class inside the util package and copy the code below. Okay. So let's make a browser factory class in the util class. Okay. So let's look into our diagram. So in the diagram, we already created a driver folder, right? In the driver folder, we have our driver. Okay. On the util folder, we have to write, we'll be writing code for driver.get or Chrome driver and stuff like that. So util folder will be writing a code that will be responsible for opening the browser and pointing to the driver. Okay. So let me repeat it again. On the util folder, we will be making a class and making a function that deals with opening a browser and going to the URL. Okay. So util new class and start browser. Okay, so we created a class called start browser, and we will be writing code here that actually uh, deals with opening the browser and pointing to the driver. Okay, so this is very important here. Okay,
Enrico, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
When you're creating a class, I think you selected one option. Are we supposed to select it, or like the main page, the public class main, instead of that you selected something inherited or something? I just saw it.
Did I?
It was selected, yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, no, we don't have to. I mean, I mean, when you make a class, do you get that option?
No, we don't get it, but I think it was selected when you were creating a class over there.
I don't think it matters. I think it's okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so right now let's go ahead and start coding. So okay, where do I start? Okay, so we also okay. I'm sorry. I think I made a small mistake. I'm sorry, guys. I made a small mistake. I have to delete it. Sorry, I made a small mistake. Sorry about that. I'm just going a little bit back. So it says to make a browser factory, right? It says to make a browser factory. I'm so sorry. In the browser factory class, I'm supposed to make a start browser function. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. So let's make a class called browser factory. Sorry about that. I apologize. So right click on util, and let's go to new and let's go to class. Okay. Let's make a class called browser factory. So over here, which method stubs would you like to create? So inherited abstract. If it's not selected, you don't need to select it. Actually you're not going to do anything that deals with inherited abstract class. So it's okay. We're not doing anything with that. Okay. So we create a browser factory class. Okay. All right. After creating a browser factory class, we will make a function for start browser. Okay. But before I actually start writing anything, I have to declare I have to make a global variable here. Okay, it's called a static global variable. So static WebDriver driver. Okay, so it's telling me to import it. So right click. I mean, if you hover your mouse, you'll see to import WebDriver. So we'll import the WebDriver. Okay, all right, and then we will make a function. Okay, so I'll tell you why we're using static as because because there are lots of WebDriver, right? We want this is the challenge it gets. The challenge later it gets that make sure all your browser and all your test cases using the same WebDriver. Okay. So all your classes and all your test case class needs to this they have all I mean all the classes and the packages make sure that this driver is used. It's very necessary. You cannot just declare WebDriver and it will initiate a different driver. Okay, so you want to make sure that this same driver is being passed in every single class. Okay, so that is a little bit challenge that we will get. Okay, so let's start writing. So we'll make a function right now, public static WebDriver. So we are returning the WebDriver. So let me explain you what that means actually.
The spelling driver, D is supposed to be capital, WebDriver.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so we will have to have a return statement. Okay, so let's write our code here. Okay, let's write our code for going to the drive. So that we all already know. Okay, so remember we wrote what did we write here? So so we'll be writing our same code that goes to the that goes to the driver. So it's the same code. So we'll write system.setProperty. So you can click the second one, you can choose the second one, and you'll write webdriver.chrome.driver. Okay, and after that you will be giving the location of the driver. Okay, so how do we get the location of the driver? So right click on driver and right click on Chrome driver, and if you go to properties, okay, it will tell you. Okay, so we just have to take from driver, we just have to take from this slash.
I think the earlier path. I think it's the upper path.
Excuse me?
I think it's the upper path.
What do you mean the upper path?
And what he's saying is if you use
Oh,
the
yeah.
path and not location, but it's the same thing if you put a dot in front of it,
Yes,
driver.home
yep.
exec.
Yep, I was gonna come to that. Yes, no problem. Yes. So either way, so path or the location. Okay. So this path is actually, there's a difference between this path and the location. So thank you for actually focusing on it. So this location is actually telling where in your computer, where in your machine, if you go to see user, where you get this Chrome driver. Okay. And on the path is actually telling you where in the structure you'll see it. Okay. I mean, it is saying the same thing, but I'm telling you the difference between the path and the location. Okay, so I'll just, so I have to put a dot here. So the dot means that whatever comes before that, make sure you take it. Okay, we add a semicolon at the end. All right. Okay, so some people write drivers, some people write drivers. I mean, it depends what the folder name is. Okay, based on the folder name, you do it. So over here, I gave the folder name driver. So you might call it drivers or lowercase drivers. So whatever the location is, make sure you follow that. Okay. Okay, so this is for, as you know, this is for setting up the property. All right. And right now we'll write the same code for launching the Chrome driver. So we'll write the WebDriver, sorry. So we'll write WebDriver driver new Chrome driver. Okay. So let's import it. Okay, after we're done, we'll have to add a return statement. So because if you're adding a static, you have to have a return statement. But I'll be telling you the purpose of this function here. Okay. So the purpose of this start browser function is whenever this function will get called, this function will use the WebDriver to open the Chrome browser, and after that the same driver needs to be returned into the same function. Okay, it cannot be lost anywhere. Okay, so this driver needs to be circulated among the page folder, among the test folder, and it should be back in the same place. Okay, so that's how this page object format was designed. Okay, so the another thing with the page object pattern is we have to play around with the WebDriver. So you have to imagine over here, WebDriver driver is one kind of water that flows through all the places. Okay, it's like a water, it's like a river water that has to be passed on to everywhere. Okay, it's like a let's imagine it's a waterfall. Okay, let's imagine it's a water coming out from the waterfall, and it has to go through every pipes and everywhere to go to the main source. Okay, so let's imagine that. So this WebDriver needs to be flown around in every class. Okay, all right. So as you know, this code is the same thing that we had before, right? So for example, we had this over here. Hopefully you guys won't get confused. Um, where's the test case that I wrote? Okay, I can't find the test case, but it's okay. But you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say here. That then I showed you a login test before, right? So that same login test on the beginning, I had, a beginning statement was, setting up the Chrome driver and telling how the Chrome driver should open and all that. So that same code is here, right? All right. So let's make our login class. Okay, so let's make our login class right now. So we already created our util folder. We created a util folder and all the necessary driver.get, everything is given. Driver folder is created. Now we have to create the page folder and we have to create a function in the page folder. Okay, okay. So let's create on the pages. Let's right click and let's go to new and let's go to class and let's go to login class and let's click on finish. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's open our checklist here. Okay, so based on the checklist, we created the browser factory class inside the util package and copy the code below. So we wrote that code. Number 7, we have to create. Second. Did it talk about? Oh, it created a test pack. Okay, I think the class, the login page class should be created first. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so I'm creating a login class right now. So based on the diagram, so on the login page class, we will be storing all our elements of, we'll be storing all our elements from the email address and the password and the sign in button. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing now. All right. One second. Okay, so so the thing is actually over here, right? If we add driver dot find element by username and all that, it won't be referred to the same driver. It won't work. Okay, so we have to use a different way of writing. Okay, so let's mention WebDriver. Okay, let's mention WebDriver. Okay, so right now if we write here, driver dot find element by, if you write driver dot find element by ID and all that, it won't be referred to the same driver in our browser factory class. It won't be referred. Okay, so if I write like this by itself, it's a new driver and the test case will fail because it's not going to connect. If you write like that, it will give you a problem. Okay, so that's why there's a different way of rephrasing it. Okay, there's a different way of identifying the element and storing it. Okay, there is an annotation called find by. Okay, there's an element there's a new way of identifying the element and it's called find by. Okay, so let me tell you what this find by is. So find by is using a statement called how. So how would you find the element by? Is by ID. Okay, so based on that, whatever element that you want to choose, ID, XPath, or CSS selector, you can modify that. So for example, if you write how dot, so there's ID, there's class and everything like that. So ID, okay, and it is using the username, right? So, okay, and over here we are writing web element username. The web element should be uppercase. Sorry about that, guys. I'm making this mistake. Okay. So this is same thing as saying integer x equal to 3. Okay, it is almost saying the same thing over here. So this web element username is being used as a variable. Okay, and find by how.id is giving the value. Okay, so this is a find by annotation actually. So I cannot use driver here because if I mention driver here, if it won't be mentioned, the same driver won't be used. Okay, so at this moment my goal will be to, my goal will be to identify everything without using a driver, because I have to keep that in mind, right? That same I still have to use that driver from the browser factory here. Okay, so I shouldn't mention any new driver. So this is the way that that everyone's using without mentioning that driver. So using that find by annotation. Okay, so this find by annotation, with this you can also identify the elements as well. This is a little bit different way of finding the element. So before we wrote driver.find element by id or class or that. So over here we're doing with find by. So find by how, by id, and what id you're using, and you're just giving a value here, a variable, a variable. So this is the value, and the web element username is a variable, right? Okay. Okay.
Enrico,
Yeah.
if if you want to use XPath, like can you give example of the same thing, line 13
Yeah.
with
So
XPath?
absolutely. So if you write how dot, so there's lots of options. Class name, the same option as before using driver.find element by. Okay. This is a different way of driver.find element by. So there's ID, there's link text, there's XPath too. So if you write XPath, you'll have XPath. Okay, and you'll give the you write the XPath path here. Okay, so for example, dot dot or whatever the text dot XPath path is, you'll just put it here. Okay. Okay, but do you want me to do this using XPath instead of ID? So we have a priority list, right? So if you have an ID present here, you're supposed to use that ID first. There's a priority list. Okay, so over here at this moment, uh, over here, this is, we on this for email address, we have an ID already present here. Okay, so the best will be to use ID, because ID is always very quicker. It gets identified really quicker, and it's very unique. Okay. Right. So next we'll be giving the password, right? We'll be giving the password and the sign in button. So if we hover our mouse, if we hover our password, we can see that input ID is password, and if we hover over sign in button, is class button, or you can use the name login. One second. We can use the class name login as well. All right, so let's write this down. So the thing is, in my workplace, I usually when I try out the test case, like before going to automation, I have to try out one time, right? Manually, I have to see how the flow goes. So in that moment, I actually store all the elements in the notepad, and then I just copy and paste. All right. So let's try one more time. Let's give the value for password. So sorry, how equal how dot again id using password, and we're giving as web element password. All right. So right now we'll give the same for the sign in button. So how dot, okay, so we have, what did you decided for the sign in button? Okay, so there's class name and there is also name. So which one should I use, guys? What should I do?
Name is
You can
higher.
use name.
I can use name. Okay, let's see. So how dot, which one I should use? Oh, why it's not coming?
Nico, take the last parenthesis off right now, the last one, for a time being. And then dot name will come.
Okay, so after this, you can choose the name, right? Thank you. And using so name login. Okay. So again, we're giving web element sign in button. All right. So we have stored all the elements here. Okay. So right now the goal will be to create function with these web elements. Okay. So let's go ahead and create function here. So we'll write public void login. Okay. So there's a way to make this dynamic, but I don't want to go into that route yet. I just, for explanation purpose, I'm just trying to show as easy as possible. Okay. Probably the next class will make a little bit more dynamic. Okay. So public void login, we can write, for example, we have already stored elements, right? So we can just we can just call the username here. Okay. So username dot send keys. Okay. So you're giving the username here. Let me know if the username is right. Okay. Okay. Then it will be password dot send keys, and we're giving the password ABC123. Okay, and after that we have to click the sign in button, right? So sign in button dot click. All right. Okay, so this is the function that we have created here. Right. There's one more thing that I have to do here. Okay, I have to go back to the driver again. Okay. Um, I have to tell that I have to make a constructor. The reason that I'm making a constructor, that I'm saying that you have to use, so when the driver comes to this page, I have to make sure to use this specific web driver. Okay. So there's nothing at this moment that is telling that right now. Okay, so I have to add that. So we'll make a constructor right now. Okay, so what is the purpose of using a constructor? Who can tell me? What is a constructor and what is the purpose of using a constructor?
Once
It is a
you
special method in the Java.
Yeah, one more time.
It is a special method in Java, and it's a default. It's created default by default.
It's with the method class name of class name also.
Okay, but none of you guys tell me why it's used. Like, what is the use of constructor? So the
Usually use type shape.
Another class.
Function.
automatically invoked.
It's meant to incite.
It's something, constructor is something that auto invokes the moment you create an object for that class.
Yeah, I know it does, but why we use it? What is the use? What is the purpose of using a constructor?
It's calling the function.
It's too general. The purpose of using a constructor is to give. So I think one lady just mentioned something with the default value. Yeah. So the thing is, the purpose of using a constructor, you are actually reassigning a default value. Okay. So so when the driver comes to this page, by default, I wanted to use that driver, web driver right now. So that's the only way of doing is to use a constructor here. Okay, so let me make a constructor. So when you make, so you guys already know how to make a constructor. We will use the same class name. Sorry, login. Is it login class? Oh yeah, login class. Sorry. Okay, I have to create web driver. I mean, I in my workplace I use C#. Over there, the web driver mention is a little bit different. So that's why when I switch to Java, I actually write in that way. So this dot driver equal driver. Okay. So I am mentioning.
Enrico,
Yeah, please.
this is the most confusing part for
Yes.
at least for me. I don't know about other people.
Mhm.
You have done in the browser factory, browser factory page class. You have done return driver, and then you have mentioned here web driver, and then what is the association of these things, and then how we are playing around it.
Okay. So remember,
And we are
I mentioned a statement that let's imagine the driver has to be flown through everything. It's like a water. It's like a flow of water. Okay. So on the browser factory we have a driver, and that same driver needs to be referred here as well. So when I make the test case class, I'll be connect everything right now. Okay. So I'm saying that so I'm making the preparation here that when the web driver comes to this page from the browser factory, make sure that it uses the driver in this page. Make sure it doesn't uses the driver from other pages. Okay, so let me make the test case class and I'll be able to connect it actually. Okay, so when the driver comes to this page, the driver needs to be associated with all the elements and with all the functions. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that when the web driver comes to this page, I'm telling with the using of a constructor that when you come in from a different page, make sure you use this class WebDriver. So that's why I said this. This is an over here. This is using as an object to make sure that it's I'm manually forcing to tell the WebDriver from a different class to use the elements and the function. Make sure it connects to it. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, so
So,
yeah.
Enrico, so this WebDriver thing is working as a bridge between browser factory and login class?
Yes, you can say like that. Yep.
Okay.
The thing is, if it comes from, so for example, let's imagine, so that's how the test case will flow. From the browser factory, it will go to the login class. Okay, in the login class, when that WebDriver comes from the browser factory, it will have the driver from the browser factory class. Okay, so I'm using a constructor. I'm rewriting the default value. So by default right now, okay, let's imagine I don't have this. Okay, let's imagine I don't have this dot driver. Let's imagine that. So what will happen? Okay, the web driver from the browser factory will come. The driver will come from the browser factory, and it will use the driver from browser factory. It won't catch anything from here, and that's a problem. Okay, so I have to tell, I am using a constructor, but I'm rewriting the default value for this page here. That hey, when you come to this page, by default you have to associate it with all the elements and the function. So I'm forcing the driver that hey, leave browser factory and get all the elements and the function from the login class.
From the browser factory, I mean the driver call from the browser factory and write it down with the class name is browser factory.
Okay, so one person asked, you mean extend, right? Can I inherit it? Very good question. Yeah, you can inherit, but the thing you have to understand, this has to be used in other, so this has to be connected to the test class too. And you'll have multiple classes and you have multiple pages. You'll have multiple page class, multiple test class. So how many times you're going to inherit? You're going to get confused. Okay, it will work one time, but if you're having multiple classes, multiple test class, it won't work. Okay, so as I mentioned before, that is actually a challenging part, that you have to tell the driver to every time it goes to a new page, tell the driver, make sure it captures everything on that page. Okay? So hopefully I answered the question a little bit, right? So yeah, this is a bridge from connecting the browser factory with the login page. So when the browser factory jumps into login class, it is not going to capture anymore from the browser factory. It's going to use the driver from the login class. No. So when you're using the constructor, it's actually when the driver comes here, the driver will be associated in this page. Okay, right. So any more question, any more confusion? No, I can go into the next. I can make a test class now.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, all right. So we made the login class, and let's make the test class here. Okay. So we're gonna right click, and we will create class, and it will be login test. Finish. Okay. So right now we will be. So what did it? Let's look into a diagram. Okay. So we successfully created the util folder. We created the driver folder. We created the login page class. We also made the function with writing username and password and clicking sign in button. We also created the login test and everything. Right now we're going to create the login test right now. Okay. So login test, what I mentioned, that we'll call the function from the util class for opening browser, and we'll also call function from the login page. Okay. By the way, guys, how is my sound quality? My sound quality is good.
Yeah, it is good
Okay, all right.
for me.
Yes.
Okay, okay, just checking.
Perfect.
Okay, all right. So let's start with our thing right now. So right now we will write. So we have to make a test method, right? We have to make a test method here. So we'll write public void text files login. Oops, my bad. I'm using a very old computer, guys. This computer is from 2014, so 15 actually. So yeah, right. Okay. So at this moment, um, we have to create a test annotation. So add test. Okay. So add test. So we're using a test ng, right? So we will import test ng. Okay. And right now we'll be start writing our code here. Okay. So now we're gonna start again with WebDriver. All right. WebDriver. So right now we'll be calling, as I mentioned before, right? We have to call the function from browser factory, right? We have to call the function. We have to call the start browser function from the browser factory class. Okay. So we have to mention. Let's import this. So you have to mention browser factory dot. So as soon as you click dot, so it's using as an object actually. Start browser. We select the start browser, and we use semicolon. Okay. So this function by itself will actually, and then we have to use one more thing, right? We have to, yeah. So if you call this function, if you run the test case right now, this will open the browser for you. Okay. And right now we have to call, right? Right now we have to call the function from the login class. So we have to call this function, right? Login. We just have to call from this class, this function from the login page. Okay, so how do we do that? So there is one more problem. Okay, so there's one more problem is we have to connect the test case with everything else. Okay, so if I use WebDriver, it's good for the start browser. It will work. Okay, now the problem is actually um, the problem is actually the test case has to refer the same driver from the browser factory. Okay, so it's very challenging. It was very challenging to do it, but the Selenium developers found a way how to get past that issue. Okay, so there is something called page factory. Okay, with the using of page factory, you can tell like a driver should go to which class. Okay, so we're using that page factory. So for example, how to use a page factory. So we have a login class, right? So we'll call the class name. So which class we want to go to? From the login class, we're supposed to call the login function, right? So we will call login class. Okay, then we have to call an object, right? So over here you can make any object you want. So for example, login to website equal to page factory. Okay, so this is the class that I was talking about. Okay, dot Okay, there's something called init elements. Okay, so as you at the first one, it will be WebDriver class, page class. Okay, so this is, so as you guys can see, it is the driver is getting connected with the help of the page factory here. Okay, so I have to mention here which class that it will go to. Okay, which class it will go to. So I have to write login class, right? So login class dot class, right? Then I'll add a semicolon to end this. Okay, so at this moment I have to use this object right here, right? I have to use this login website object, login into website dot, I think I spelled it wrong. So if you want, you can just copy it, dot. So we made a login function, right? We made a login function that will help you to log into the application. That's all. After that, I want my driver to driver.close and driver.quit. That's all. That's what the page object structure is. Okay, so we have successfully created a framework, and we have successfully migrated one login test case. Okay. So,
can you please explain line number 18?
Excuse me?
Can you please explain line number 18 again?
Yes. So the thing is, as I mentioned before, right? As I mentioned before, the test case needs to be connected with the class. Okay. So how would you connect the test case class? Okay. So this is a login test case class, right? How would you connect the login test case class with the login page class? Okay. So how would you connect that? And you have to understand, you have to do it in a certain way that the same driver from browser factory still exists. Okay, so that's why I created login class. So we have to create like an object, right? The way that you use a page factory is through an object. Okay, so right now from browser factory I have to go to the login page class. Okay, I have to go to the login class. Okay, so that's why I mentioned the same login class here. Okay, as you guys can see, login class, I created an object. So this, it could be anything, XYZ. Okay, so I gave the object name login into website. Okay, and I'm using the page factory class. Okay, the page factory class will help me to connect to the class that I want to go to. Okay, so I want to go to the login class. Okay, over here I want to go to login class, because in the login class I have to access this login function, right? So I mentioned here init elements driver login class, and since it's a class I have to write dot class. Okay, login class, it's all automatically populated. Okay, after that I have to use this login into website object to access the login. Okay, so this is like using non-static static. Okay, so this, you have to imagine this whole test method is actually a static main method. Okay, all right. So with the help of a login into website object, I'm accessing this login function, all right? And this login function, you know what will do. This login function will go to the username, send keys, password, give password, and click on the sign in button, right? And it will driver.close and driver.quit. That's what will happen. Okay. Okay. So why don't you guys? Okay. So you guys understood what is happening, right? So this is one test case that we did, and our goal. And let us do one more test case after that, and then we'll finish the class. Okay. Right. So you guys understood what is happening now? Or do you guys have any question? Is it too hard? Is it too complicated? I made as easy as possible for now.
Enrico, I have a question. So here we don't have to mention before test and after test, right?
You can do it. You can do that too.
Include everything in the test.
You can do that too, but the thing is, if you're creating a page object structure, um, using a before test and after test becomes redundant.
Okay.
Okay, because that's why you are using page object model. You do not need after and before. Because for example, in my workplace, we don't use after and before, because the page object model is handling everything here. And actually we have a rule here. The rule is that every test class, for every test case, you need a separate class. So that is the standard. We do not like put thousands of test cases in one class. That's not a good standard. So for every test case is a new class. Okay, so that's the proper standard actually.
Okay, thank you. And there is one more line in the example. It says driver.get and the tech files website. So do we have to mention that?
Which one?
In the example by Stein,
Okay.
there is one more line before login page. It says driver.get and it gets the website, I guess.
Oh yeah, we have missed the URL.
No, I'm passing the URL here in the browser factory. Sorry, I missed the URL. Oh, sorry. Okay, so it should be driver.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. Yeah, so this goes to the URL. I'm sorry about that. I forgot the URL part. Okay, so this one will open the browser. It will go to the driver. It will open the browser. Okay, so tomorrow I'll actually show you how to do a little bit more dynamic. Okay, how to become a little bit more reusable. But for now, actually, at this moment, I want you guys to understand this structure, that what is going on right now. Okay, I think you guys are kind of understood, right? What is going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Enrico,
Yep.
this is the login test to connect with the page. This is only a way to get through the page factory, or this is another way. This is one of the way.
This is the way that people uses a lot. Definitely there could be more, but in my workplace we also use page factory too. But the thing is, you can add additional function that you don't have to use a page factory. There's a way to do that too, but that becomes really challenging at the end. I don't want you guys to put into challenge at this moment. Okay, so this is the easiest way for you guys to know. That's the way that's what I'm getting.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thank you.
this is the easiest way that you guys can actually, because you guys all have a non-technical background. Okay, I'm trying to be technical. So this is the easiest way that the mass amount of people understand in this way, because we've been teaching for a long time and we know how people will get easily. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Could you please run the test?
There's one more question. Yes, please.
Okay, so every test case, like this is the first test,
Mm.
the login test.
Yeah.
So after that, every test case, like every test class is going to be under the test package.
Yeah. So one person asked that what is the next? How should we integrate the next test case? Okay. So in the next test case, we'll put it in the test package.
So
Yeah. 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 So all the test case will be inside this test package. Okay. So let me run the test case. Okay. But my driver might be off. I'm not sure. My driver might be off. So it might not work that way, but it should be working. Let me see.
every time we have to call the driver from the browser.
Yeah, this way. Okay, what's the issue here?
And how can we use the this
Enrico,
Yeah, I think.
I think we have missed the test ng in the library to add the test ng in the library.
No, we're in the login test, right? We already have a test engine. What library?
When you do the add the red test, you have to add test ng to the library before you import test.
Yeah. So this is the test, right?
Yeah. You have to delete that and add one more time. Yeah.
Oh, add test case into the library. Okay. Hold on. So let me delete this. 1 second. Oh, add test into the library. Okay.
Yeah.
And then add
Yeah.
test ng. Sorry about that. I thought it automatically worked. Okay, so let's run it now. Okay, what's the issue? Let's use JUnit. I don't know why my test ng is not working. Let's use JUnit for now. Okay, I have to. I don't know why it's not working for mine. I think I might have other issue, but you guys should. If you try it out, it should work on your path.
So when the test fails, how do you establish where it's failing, whether it's
If
through
you
the
click,
connect?
if you click on this issue, it showed me, right. Let me show you. I think I have to write in a little bit different way here. So for example, if a test case failed, right? So if you click on this, it immediately bolded and it is telling me where it failed, which line it failed.
Enrico, the driver dot get should be after the 17 line.
Okay, see. Should copy this. Yeah, so it cannot open the browser, right, guys? Sorry about that. My silly mistake. Okay. So yeah, so you open the Chrome driver, you open the driver, then you go to the URL. So sorry about that, guys. Heat of the moment. Yeah, so it should work now. Okay, so it opened the browser and just closed it. Okay, so we're doing a simple login functionality right now. So let's well, what time is it now? Let's, if you want, if you guys have any question, let's take a break for 5 minutes and then we'll come back and let's do one more test case and then we'll go home. Tomorrow we'll do a little bit more complicated stuff. Okay. All right. So let's break for 5 minutes. So we'll be back in All right, guys, welcome back. Okay, so you guys are you guys trying it out, or you guys are comfortable? Okay, can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, all right, then cool. So let's add one more test case actually. Let's add one more test case to this, and just to show how the test case works. Okay. Okay. Is anyone having any problem? Any like they're stuck in anywhere? If you want, I can give 1 or 2 minutes just to see if you guys have if you guys are having any issue right now.
Enrico,
Yeah.
can I see the login class page and login test page?
Yeah. So just yes. So take your time. Okay. Take your time understanding this. If you understand this, you can do 100 and 200, 300 test case. So just take your time and understand this, and before going to the next part. Okay. Because if you guys know how to do it, the job is halfway done.
So what's find by do?
The find by is an annotation that instead of using driver.find element by, we're using find by. It's a different way of storing an yeah. No, no. If you use X, if you want to use XPath, right, or any other element, like for example, I showed you, right? So on how dot instead of how dot ID or how dot name, you put how dot XPath. Okay. All right. Yes. One more question. Any question?
Another page, Enrico, the login test.
The login test. Here you go.
Thank you.
Otto, are you there? Otto? Otto Magaji, are you there? Or Mogaji? No, no problem. All right. All right. Okay, so let's add one more test. Okay, let's add one more test now. Okay, so make sure. Okay, so in the browser factory, I did some changes. First of all, I forgot to add the URL, and when I added before the Chrome opening the Chrome browser. So that was a foolish mistake. I'm so sorry, guys. I had less sleep last night, so that's why heat of the moment I actually did the mistake. But it's a silly mistake. Okay, so I make sure going to the URL after you open the browser. Okay, so that's the silly mistake I made. Sorry, guys, and thank you for guiding me. Right, right. Let's add one more test case. Okay, I just want to see how, like, when you add the test case, how it is like. Okay, how on the page object wise, how would that happen? So I'm just making a habit right now of using like using a page object. I'm not in a rush just to cramp everything up right now. So I'm just showing you, try to make sure that you guys are understanding the page object pattern. Okay, that's why I'm going slowly and calmly. Make sure you guys take it easily and calmly and slowly. Okay. There's a couple of things that need to be added, but I'm not adding those now. I just want you guys to first understand the page object pattern, page object structure, and then um, I'll add few things more. Okay. All right. So let's log in. So we're gonna do one more test case now. So all the validation, all the everything like the assertion and all that, I'll add them tomorrow. All the assertion, all the WebDriver weight, everything else, I'll add them tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So right now, the next test case will be to log in, come to this dashboard, go to CRM, and add contact. Okay, and fill this up. and then click the submit button. Okay, so that should be the next test case will be. Okay, so everyone understanding like how the next test case will be? The next test case will be to log in. Okay, and then we will go to CRM, go to add contact, and we will add all of this information. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Okay, so let's start right now. Okay, so we already have a login page, login class, everything is ready now. So we already have our login build up, right? We already have our login build up. Okay, but we have to, since it comes to the dashboard right now, since it's coming to the dashboard, we have to make a class for dashboard. Okay, we have to make a class for dashboard. Okay, from the dashboard, we'll be clicking the dashboard. Oh, 1 second, sorry, it will be clicking the CRM and it will be clicking the add contact. Okay, so we have to make a class for dashboard. So it will be doing two actions. It will click the CRM and it will click on add contact. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing. Since this is a new page, so after you log in, right, you came to a new page. This is the new page. Okay, so let me mention this again. After you came to a new page, you have to make and you have to interacting. Yeah, you're interacting with the elements in the new page. That's why you have to make a new class. So every page that you're going, you are actually making a new class. Okay, so you don't have to identify all the elements from like the whole dashboard. Is only what you need. Okay, you will be storing the elements or the making methods of only what you need. You don't have to make for the whole page, which is not necessary. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a class for dashboard. Okay, so do you guys understand what I'm doing, right? You guys are understanding what I'm doing right now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, my bad. I lost connection for a minute.
Excuse me?
I said I lost connection for a minute. I had a question earlier, but I'll figure it out later.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so let me rephrase this again. Um, who? Oh, so let me rephrase this again actually. Okay, so we're in the login page right now, and we created a page class. We identified the page class for email address, password, and sign in button. Okay, so that's why we made a new class. Okay, so then after we log in, okay, after you log in, you came to a new page right now. In this new page, you're interacting with the dashboard. So we're interacting with the CRM. We're interacting with CRM, and we're clicking on CRM. We're clicking on add contact. Okay, so when we go to add contact, we'll be giving the full name, the company name, the email, and the password, and the submit button, right? So since after clicking the add contact, we're now in a new page. Okay, so we have to make a class for that as well. Okay, yep. Okay, so that's what it will be. So let me go back to our diagram. Okay, so based on the diagram, we have to add few things here. Okay, based on the diagram right now, we already have a login page. Okay, we already have a login page, which is good to go. Okay, okay, but we have to make right now in under the login page, we have to add two more pages. It will be dashboard class. Okay, what will happen in the dashboard class? In the dashboard class, we will click add contact and store elements, right? And store elements of the dashboard, like for example, store elements of the CRM and add contact. Okay. Then we'll make a add contact. Then after clicking the add contact, we'll go to a new page called add contact page, right? So we have to make a class for contact page. Store elements of all text boxes and submit button. Okay, and after that, on the test case folder, so contact test, sorry guys, so on the contact test, we will be calling function from util, from login page, from dashboard class, and contact page. Okay, so this is how the flow will go from here. So it will go to dashboard, then it will go to the contact page. It will also go to the login page class also. Okay, so util folder. So in the on the contact test, we will be calling function from the util package. We'll be calling function from the login package for logging in. Util package for starting the browser and going into the URL. Login page should be logging into the page. Dashboard, from dashboard we will be actually calling from clicking the add contact, and from the contact page we will be submitting the from the contact page. It will be that element, that function will write all the element actually that on sorry guys. So on the contact page we will actually call the function for filling up the form, right? So we will also make a function for filling up the form. All right, so do you guys have any question on this? Everyone understood what is going on? Okay, so the util folder will be, there is a open browser. For contact page, for the dashboard page, we'll make a function that interacts with the add contact. In the contact page, we'll be interacting with the text boxes that fills up the text boxes, and in the contact test, we'll be just calling functions from these classes. Okay. Now, before I go into, before I start making one more test case, do you guys have any question? Yeah, no.
No, I guess let's get it started.
Okay, good. I'm getting less feedback. I'm getting feedback from one person, as I mentioned before. If I'm online right now, I'm actually not in the campus, but you guys have to tell me like where you guys are getting stuck, or what you're understanding or what you're not understanding. So you guys have to give me feedback. So I'm not able to see what is going on in the campus. So you have to say, I mean, I'm seeing what it's happening in the Pennsylvania campus, but I'm not able to see what is happening in the Texas campus. So you guys have to tell what is going on if you're not understanding or what you're having problems with. You have to give that feedback. Okay. So without that feedback, I'm blind there too. Okay. Right. So let's start right now. Let's make in our pages, in our page.
Enrico, I have a question.
Yes, please.
When you log in the page,
Mm-hmm.
there's the dashboard page comes, and if we don't click on CRM, we don't get the add contact
No, you
button,
don't.
right?
No, you don't.
Yeah. So first we need to click CRM, right?
Yep. So we have to identify the CRM. We have to identify the add contact. Then we have to make function for clicking the CRM. Then clicking the add contact.
Click on. Yep. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So let's on the page class in the page folder page package. Let's make a class for dashboard. Okay. Okay. So it is the same deal once again. This deal will be that you have to have a constructor that will tell you to use every driver of the page. Okay. So the thing is, you don't have to retype it again. You can just simply copy and paste from the previous test class. Okay. So this is what happens in actually workplace. People rarely types up. There is when you start your work, there's a framework. Most of the time, there's a framework already created for you. There's already a framework there that the team created. You just have to follow the process. You just have to understand how the framework is created, and based on that, you have to make classes and make test case to call them. That's all you have to do. Just understand the framework, learn it how it works, and then you have to replicate the process. You just have to follow the same process, and when you start your work, someone will train you to understand the framework. Okay. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just don't have to retype the whole thing again. I can just grab from my previous login class. Sorry guys, I'm having a mouse issue. Oops. Okay, so I'm copying and pasting the constructor. I just have to change the name. Sorry, it should be WebDriver driver. Okay, all right. So right now I have to, so let's go into the dashboard. Let's go into the dashboard. So what is happening here? Okay, let's go in the previous page. Okay, in the dashboard, I have to click. So as I mentioned before, only store the element and make the function whatever you need. You do not need the whole dashboard right now. I'm interacting with the CRM right now. Okay, so we'll click the CRM and we'll get that contact. So let's identify the element of CRM. Does anyone wants to tell the XPath of CRM? How can I get the XPath of CRM? Who can tell me?
Sure, I can try. It's a little bit hard to see, so I'll try my.
Yeah.
I'll look at my. Okay. So let's see, CRM. We're gonna go right click, inspect it. Well, we have a class, so we can use that if you want. Command Control F to find // we can put span.
If you want,
So,
you can type it in the chat box. I'll take it from there. If,
oh, okay, no problem.
if anyone wants to do it, they can just type it from the chat. Type it in the chat box. Okay. So if you guys want to, why don't you guys get X? So as you guys can see that there is not anything that you can use. There's no class name, ID name, anything like that. So at this moment we have to use XPath, right? So feel free to give me the XPath of CRM and add contact. Okay, so put it in the chat box. So feel free to give me the XPath of CRM. So put it in the chat box. Oh, that's it. It's auto. So CB just sent me a XPath of CRM. It is. I mean, can I get a what do you call it? The manual one. What is it called? Or those don't give me the automated XPath. Okay, make it relative XPath. Make it relative XPath. I know how to do. Everyone knows how to do it. I just want to see your technical skill. Okay. Uh, I don't want to go. I don't want to teach you guys XPath right now. But there's a very simple way to write the relative XPath too. I want to teach you within like few minutes. It will take you a few minutes to understand. Okay, is anyone trying it out?
You can use contains with it, right? Because it has the CRM. Oh, it's a link, right? We can. I know it's not a link. No, we cannot do that.
Oh man, Said Alom. Oh my god, I'm getting scared, man. So it's a huge expat.
And better than the
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 2 more minutes to find the expat of CRM, a relative expat. Basanti said, okay, but it's pretty complex for the. But okay, let's see. Okay, Delphine. Delphine mentions pan text CRM. Okay, but both Basanti and Delphine should work. I'm gonna use, So David Mugabe, come on, man. It's a automated generated expat. So
Use the Basanti one.
Enrico,
yeah.
I I have sent you one. Is there any way you can check?
What is your name?
Tanvir?
I think you. What did you send me? Send me in the chat box.
All right.
Enrico, I sent you one.
What is your name?
Ermias?
Rakesh, right?
No, Ermias.
Your name is not in the chat box. Okay, Rakesh just send one. Span contains. Tanvir also send. Yeah, Tanvir, try to use CRM. I don't know, FA arrow. I don't know if that's gonna work. Okay. The goal is I'm trying to see like in less effort. Okay. All right. So okay, span. Okay. Many people use this. Abu Hena and Rakesh, they gave almost the same. Yeah. So that might work. So let me check it out. Okay. Now give for add contact. So let me forgot to copy it. 1 second.
Add contact button is a link, so we can just use link.
Yeah, you can use link too. Okay, now you can give for add contact. So I'm going to show you how to actually use XPath in an easy way. Okay, so right now, let's store the element for CRM and add contact. So if you want, you don't have to type the whole thing. You can also copy it from the previous class page. Okay, so we are using XPath right now, right? So we can write how dot XPath using my bad. Let me open the chat box again. I'm copying it. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, so I think good amount of people gave for CRM and add contact. So let me try them out. I think CRM should be all uppercase, right? Someone wrote CRM lowercase. I think CRM should be all uppercase because otherwise you're using a text, right? So if you're using a text XPath, on the text XPath, you have to have whatever is exactly written. So if you put CRM, it might not come. If you use contains, it might comes, but since it is exactly copying the same, is exactly looking for the same thing. So CRM. Okay, so let's get for add contact. Let's see. Okay, so you guys are supplying with you guys are supplying me with those XPath. So if it doesn't work, the blame goes on you guys. Okay, I'm totally depending on you guys on this, right? So okay, so thank you. I think I got enough CRM and enough add contact elements that I can work with. Okay, my mouse is having a small problem. Just bear with me. Okay, so I think we're good now. Okay, so we successfully created and successfully identified the XPath for CRM and add contact. So let's create functions for them. If you want, you can see how the function looked in the previous one. So this could be public void click add contact. Okay, so over here, what we have to do, we have to click on the CRM link first, right? So CRM dot click. Okay, and we have to do add contact dot click. Okay, all right. So we created the dashboard page already, and we also created the function as well for the click add contact. Okay. So right now, based on the diagram, we have to what we have to do. We have to create the contact page, right? We have to create the contact page and store all the text boxes. So we have to go to the contact page. Okay, and we have to fill all the information and the click submit. Over here, this is a bootstrap web page, and over here the drop down is a little bit difficult to work with. So if you want a drop down to use, you can click on the drop down and you can identify this with the XPath, and you can write something and it will get detected. But I'm not going to go there right now at this moment. So I'm just focusing on to fill up this information. Okay. Okay, so we have, so as you can see, there is a huge amount of data. We have to store a lot of elements, right? So at that moment, what do I do? At that moment, I usually take a notepad and I usually uh, write this, full name, company, email, phone, address, city, state, zip code, and the submit button. Okay, so let's identify the XPath one at a time. No, sorry, let's identify the element one at a time. Okay.
You're missing tags. I
Which
don't
one
know
I'm
if you
missing?
want to provide tags
I
after
don't have to
country.
write tags. You don't have to write tags.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Okay, so let's identify the element one by one. So full name, You can see over here the full name. So you have to imagine most of the time all the text boxes will be always ID. Most of the time everywhere, all the text boxes will be always ID. Okay. So over here you can see the full name. So I'm hovering over the full name and it's saying account, right? So account, let me store it. Okay, so full name is account. Let
And
me.
for company is company.
Okay, I know, but I'm just showing you guys, showing it to everyone. So I'm just going with everyone. Yeah. So on the text boxes, it's always, it's always ID. Okay. So this is what I do in the workplace. Okay. Because I cannot go back and forth. So I just, when I see the text box or if I see what element I have to interact, I take a notepad and I store everything there. So email, phone. This is very easy. That's why, but sometimes the element might be a little bit different. Okay.
Like copy them up the right way, and then any uppercase.
Yeah. So the thing is, one person asked why I'm copying it instead of writing it, because if you write it, a clumsy person like me can make a mistake. I don't trust myself, so that's why I'm copying it. Okay. So I'm just showing you how to actually do this in workplace and without any effort. Okay. When you start working, you forget the basic stuff. Like for example, I forgot most of the basic stuff. City, if you hover over city, it's saying city here. So you're just copying it. State. Okay, let's go into zip code. Let's look into the submit button. So submit. Okay, I think couple of the students when they got a job, they were actually tasked of creating the framework from the beginning. So at that moment, what did they do? I told them simply whatever framework that we have did in class, why don't you clone that framework in your company and modify that and use that? So our framework, same framework is being used, like for example, companies such as JCPenney and then other big companies, some medium-sized company, they're already using our framework. Our students are using whatever framework was taught in class, they're using that framework in their workplace. Okay. All right. All right. So I think I have everything I need. So right now let's go into Eclipse. Okay. So right now, as I mentioned before, based on a diagram, that we have to make a contact page, right? We have to make a contact page class and store the elements for all the text boxes and everything like that. Okay. So let's go and let's make a contact page. New class. Okay. So again, you don't have to write the whole thing again. You can just copy from the previous class. So you can just copy the whole thing and take it to the class that you're creating. Okay. So when you created the framework structure, or or you are working in a framework, or you're working in someone's framework, you don't have to write anything. You just have to modify 2 or 3 things, and that's how it works. So as you can see, the thing of typing the word, the typing it and all that is really less. You just maybe have to type one time, and then few things you can just, most of the times you just copy and paste and do the work, you know. Okay, so copy and paste and modify. Okay, so this is contact page. So how many fields that we have here? How many fields of element we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 elements. Okay, we have 9 elements here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, I can copy this 9 times for now, right? I can copy this 9 times because I know it's gonna be ID also. So let's copy it 8 more times. So you guys know Control C and Control V, right? Control C is to copy, Control V is to paste. So I'm just going to Control V and I'm going to paste it 8 times. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So I pasted it 9 times together. Okay. So now let's give the variable name. So we have, what do we have here? We have full name, company name, email, and phone, right? So we give here full name, company name, email, phone, address, right? City, city, then zip code, right? What else?
Zip, yeah. Only zip. We can write zip code too.
So it's written zip code. Oh, zip. Okay, zip. Okay, fine. Zip, country, and submit, right? Okay. So right now, let's so we have the elements stored and everything, right? You can just replace them. So Control C.
Enrico, we have to do state before zip.
Before zip, there's state. Okay, thank you.
No country right now because there is a drop down list.
Oh, there's no.
After city do state and then zip, no country.
Okay. State. Let's replace this with state then. Okay, so let's, okay, account, company, email. So I'm just, whatever I'm copying it, I'm just replacing with this. Okay, email, phone, address, city, state, zip is zip, lowercase zip, and submit button is submit. Okay, cool. So we have everything, we have all the elements here right now, right? So let's make a function here. Let's make a function here. So public void fill up contact form. Okay, so we just simply uh, just write the company name and all that. So your so full name, right? Full name dot send keys will be so for example John Smith. Then after full name, what is it?
Company.
Okay, so company. I think it's saved as something else. Company name. Company name dot send keys. For example, Nokia. Okay, email, phone, address, city. So email, jsmith at gmail.com.
Enrico, quick question.
Yeah.
Don't you have to change the company name as well on top too?
Why you want to change the company name?
No, I'm saying like you just put company, so isn't it supposed to be company name on that?
I did. Company name. Here. On line number 49. You see it? Company name dot send keys. So when I stored the element, right, I gave the over here, I gave stored as company name. Yeah. So that's why I'm just giving the same, I'm declaring the same name, company name dot send keys or full name dot send keys, So whatever I'm doing, I have to give these names. Same variable value, same variable. Okay. So email. If you guys want, you can expedite the process. So if you want, you can just copy this. Two, three, four, five. So phone address. Now you can just copy this address. Then city. then zip, then states, then submit. Okay, so it should be submit.click because you're not writing anything there. Okay, so phone number could be 347-430-7205. Address could be 2741 East Beltline Road. City is Dallas. Zip is, do you guys know the zip code of the area that you guys are in right now? No, you guys don't know? Okay, let me give 1946 here. This is my Pennsylvania home zip code. Okay, state is Texas. Okay, and then submit.click. Okay. Alright. Okay, so right now, we created the dashboard, we created the add contact. At this moment, what we have to do, we just have to create contact test, right? We have to create contact test, and we just have to call function from util, login page, dashboard, and everything. All right. So let's create a class, or let's create. So as I mentioned before, one test case should have one test class. Okay. So new class, you can write add contact test. Okay. So if you go to login test, right? So over here there is some every test case that you write, you have to log in over here. Every test case you have to write, or you go. So all the test cases are independent here. All the test case logs in, and when they're done, they quit, they close the browser, right? So every test case is independent. None of them are dependent on each other. So what you can do is definitely you can copy this and copy the whole thing. Okay. Then copy this and let's go to add contact test. Okay, you can paste it here. So you can give the function name called contact, adding contact. Okay. So we don't need to close. So in this test case, it's also same from the previous one. Okay. So in the test case, it's also same, very similar to the previous login class. Okay. So we just have to call. If you look into a diagram, we just have to call. So we already called the util and the login page, right? We just have to call the function from the dashboard page and the contact page. Okay. So since we're going to a different class, right? So since we want the driver to go to a different class, we have to use this page factory, right? We have to use this page factory method. Every class that you go to, before going to that class or before accessing that class, you have to have a page factory. You have to call the page factory. So it should be, so what will happen next? We have to go to the dashboard, right? We have to click on the CRM and click on the add contact, right? So what will happen is we write dashboard page. then we write contact, or we write dashboard equal to, so we write page factory dot init elements. Okay, we give, so we write dashboard page dot class. Okay, so we have to access, what we have to access here, we have to access this click add contact, right? So this click on add contact function will click on the CRM and it will click on the add contact. So we write, so we are calling this function again, dashboard dot click add contact. Okay, so the dashboard will click the add contact. So we call the function already, right? So let's go into a diagram. So we call the dashboard, we're done with dashboard. Now we have to go to the contact page, right? We have to go to the contact page and we have to call the we have to call the function that fills up the form, right? So what we do is we have to go, since before going that, we again have to call page factory. So before going to every page, you have to call page factory. So what is the name of the class? Contact page, right? So contact page, you can write contact as an object equal to page factory dot init elements driver. Okay, so since we're going to the contact page right now, we have to add we have to make a page factory with the contact page. So before going to every page, you have to have a page factory for that page. So I'm going to the contact page right now. So with the contact page, I made the page factory. Okay, right now at this moment, what do? We just write contact dot fill up contact form, right? So if we go to the contact page, we have to call this fill up contact form, and this fill up contact form will just fill up everything. All right, and then after that we have driver.quiz and driver. Okay, so that's how we created the add contact test case. Now this test case is very easy to maintain. Okay, so for example, you have to change the username and password. You can simply, or you have to change one of the element. You can just simply change in this login page class, and it will be replicated to like 100 or 200 or 300 test cases, or how much you have. But if you're using that linear technique, and if the password changes or the element changes, you have to change that to all the test cases. Okay, so that gets very hard and very challenging. Everything is very organized here. So for example, that you have to update the driver, right? You have to update the driver. I think the driver one is fine. I think the driver one doesn't matter. For example, so any of the elements change or any of the data changes, right? You can immediately come into page object and modify that, and it should be replicated throughout all the test case. All right. So do you guys want to run it and see if it works? Okay. Did I run it? Right, I don't think I pressed it. Hold on. Here you go. It should run now. So I'm logging in right now. I have to add like a maximize page. So it's good job on the expat guys. Let's see it worked. Someone wants to go to login test. Yeah, what do you want to see?
Which one?
Or add contact test. Which one?
We did like dot click, CRM dot click.
Oh, this one. Oh, you mean the contact page? Oh, you mean, sorry, dashboard page. Okay, dashboard page. Yeah. So over here we're clicking the CRM first, and we're clicking the add contact. After that, we're clicking the add contact, and it goes to that page and does all that. Okay, let's go to the contact page. Okay, so in Texas class and online people, what do you guys think? Are you guys lost, or is it too difficult, or is it too hard?
No, this is good to understand.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
It's good.
Okay. Which one?
Enrique, can you show the dashboard page again for a second?
Yes, yeah, yes. Many people want to show the dashboard page. Yep. What is the fascination of this? It's just clicking the.
Enrico, can you explain
Yeah.
one more time about the page factory? I didn't really get it.
Okay, okay. I'll explain to you one more time.
Andy, every time we are using the quit, so can we take it in a separate space and use it like after method or something?
You can, but the thing is with the page object pattern, you do not need to use any after or before. Okay, so if you use after or before, if you are having like multiple test cases in one class. Okay, so if you're having multiple test cases in one class, that time you use. But the thing is, in this in the page object, the proper industrial way is every test case should have a test class. Every test case should have a separate class. So if you have that, then you don't need after and before. You can use that, but it becomes useless. It becomes no point to use after and before here, because you know you don't need it like that, because every test case is separate. Every test case is separate on a test class. Okay, so someone wants to ask about the page factory. So the page factory is before. Okay, so let me actually let me start this from the beginning here. One second. I'm hearing some background noise. Is there any question? Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Let me start from the beginning. Actually, what is happening and what is the use of the page factory? How everything is connected here. So, for example, we have as I mentioned before, right? How from the util page the same browser factory has to pass through everywhere, right? So when I'm calling the browser factory, so the driver is stuck in the browser factory. Okay, start browser. Okay, So I have to tell the browser factory from driver to drive to the login class. That's why I'm using a page factory. With the page factory, I am telling the driver to go to a specific class that I want to use. Okay. So from start browser, I want to access the login function, right? Or I want to go to the login page class. So I have to tell the page factory that make sure that page factory drives to the login class. Okay. After he's done with the login class, I have to tell the page factory that, hey, page factory, tell the driver to drive to dashboard. He drives it to dashboard. So the page factory is the thing. A page factory is the class that has to tell the driver which page to go next. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how you can call it, it won't go. Okay. So the page factory is a class that will tell the driver which class to go next. Okay.
The page factory, is there any other way to do it?
There is some other ways to do it. It's a little bit challenging. So you guys are thinking, oh, why don't I do? It looks so bad, blah blah blah. But if you want to avoid this, there is some extra coding you guys need to do in the middle. That I'm not going to that part. Okay. So the thing is about browser, that's what the page factory does. It takes you to page. It takes the driver. It tells the driver which page to go next. Okay. All right. So.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So hopefully you guys understood what is going on.
Can you deliberately make the driver fail at one of the classes, like at the login class? Can we make it deliberately fail there and see how it happens?
So where you want to fail? Like which section you want to fail?
Like in the login class.
Okay. So for example, I'm giving, for example,
Let's assume that the website TechFiles is not found.
So I have to give. So in that moment, I have to go to.
You can misspell the.
I have to go to browser factory actually. So I have to go to util. I have to go to util and I have to give a wrong URL, right?
Yes.
Here it failed. Okay. The reason it failed, it tells you already. So the thing is, when you fail, the JUnit actually tells you where it fails. Test engine also tells you. JUnit also tells you where it fails and tells you no such element unable to locate element ID username. So the thing is, based on your test case, right? You're supposed to go to login and stuff like that, right? So if you want to know where it failed, you have to make sure you have to click it here. If you double click it, it's supposed to take you, right? 1 second. So it tells you that why it was failed. It tells you, right? I don't know, occasionally when you click, it will take you to that place, but it tells you that a method ID selector to username. Okay. So it says that selector username. So where do you have the username? So it says the username is not found. Means that since it cannot go to the page, it's unable to find the username. Okay, so I want you to guys understand this right now. That's why I'm letting you guys go. I thought I'm gonna let you guys go early, but it's okay. But this is usually the time that we go to leave, right? Okay. Okay. So do you guys have any question before I end the class?
Enrico, I had a question on the dashboard page.
I'm going to dashboard page. Yeah.
What do you call the how equal to how? What do you call that? Is that like an object or?
Which one?
Like
okay.
How?
Yeah, so over here, how it is actually using as, how do you call it? It's using as like a non-static object. Yeah, so with the help of how you are actually accessing all the non-static object like ID, XPath and all that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so why don't you guys take your time? If you guys understood, as soon as you're done, I'm gonna upload this. I don't know if I take the class and I have the username and password, I usually upload it quickly. I'm having some issue with um the marketplace portal. I don't, the thing is AP has the username and password of that portal. So he'll be here by next week, by the next week. So probably won't be having any issue. So yeah, so the thing is, why don't you guys try it out right now? Because if you guys, hopefully you guys understood the page object model. So if you guys understood the page object model, I think then you guys are almost there to becoming automation engineer.
Enrico, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Does it matter like the way we create our package in class, like ordering like from first, second, third? Like the way we're creating our package in classes.
Okay, 1 second. Why do I do this? I have to go to a perspective. 1 second. I have to go to the perspective.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. What were you saying?
My question was, does it matter the way we create our package in classes?
Well, it
Does
doesn't.
it affect the test cases?
It doesn't affect. Sure. I mean, the thing is, can you call it vice versa, or you can make one in the beginning, one at the end, anything like that? I don't think there's an issue, but no, there's no problem. So the thing is, it based on the alphabetical pattern, it reorganizes itself. So over here, it's arranging you by the alphabetical order, like the C, D, and L. That's how it is. So it doesn't matter. You can create as you want, but if you follow pattern, it's good, but it doesn't matter at the end. But the thing is, if you guys can understand and if you guys can do this by today and understand it, then the next couple of things will be very easy for you. There's nothing much. I just have to add an Excel sheet here, do some shuffling around, and I think that's what the page object is. But if you understand this model, I can add some few more things to it. Okay, so understand this. So take your time. It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock there in Texas. So just give 1 or 2 more hours. Try to recreate this. Try to add these 2 test cases. And if you know this, you're a Selenium engineer already. So if you know the page object model, you're an automation engineer. No question asked.
What's the return driver then?
Okay, so a gentleman asked a question: what is the function of a return driver? So how does the start browser works? The start browser will actually opens the browser and opens the Chrome browser, Chrome driver, and goes to the URL. Okay, so this start browser, the web driver the web driver the start browser is using, the same web driver needs to be used everywhere, needs to be used in all the class and all the test cases, and it needs to be back in the same place. That's where we are saying return driver. Okay, so it's like a water flow that's coming back. Okay, so after I'm done, I want the driver to come back to the start browser. So that's why I'm saying return driver. If I gave return to any other page, I would say that return to contact page, anything like that. But I want the driver to be returned here. Okay. So everything from beginning to end, everything is the driver has to be connected with everything, going around and coming around. It's like a circle. The driver needs to be looped around everywhere in the whole circle. Okay. So that's what the basic thing is, just arranging, rearranging, making function, and just play with the driver. So this is what page object is. Okay, all right. So if you guys have any question or if you guys have any confusion, then please message me after class or message me on group me that I'm having problem understanding this and that. I'll let you know. Okay. Okay. So I can end the class, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Mirko.
Okay. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it's not too hard for you guys to understand. Made as I tried to make as easy as possible. Okay. So thank you guys and have a good day and see you tomorrow. And we'll have an interview class tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I mean 8 o'clock Central Standard Time and 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So hope you guys to be there. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Enrico.
No problem.
Thank you.